Intro. The silence that watches back beyond the edge of our solar system, far past the warmth of the sun, past the last whisper of solar wind. There is a place where silence isn't just absence, it's something deeper. Something older. And drifting through that silence is a machine. Launched in 1977 by NASA, Voyager 2 was never meant to return. It was humanity's message in a bottle. A silent witness. A traveler with no destination. For nearly half a century, it obeyed. Until it didn't. Chapter 1, the first anomaly. It started as noise. A faint irregularity buried deep inside telemetry data sent across billions of kilometers. Engineers assumed interference. Cosmic radiation. Instrument drift. But then they saw it again. A pulse. Repeating every 11.2 seconds. Perfectly spaced. Perfectly consistent. That's not how nature behaves. That's how signals behave. Chapter 2. A clock in the void. When scientists isolated the waveform, something became clear. This wasn't random. It was structured. Mathematical. Intentional. Voyager 2 wasn't just detecting something, it was being addressed. Even more disturbing, the signal was getting stronger. Not fading. Not drifting. Approaching. Chapter 3. Something is moving. Using trajectory modeling and signal delay analysis, mission control mapped the source. It wasn't stationary. It was moving. And not just moving, tracking Voyager 2. Every simulation failed. The object didn't follow gravity. It didn't obey inertia. It adjusted. Corrected. Reacted. As if it was aware. Chapter 4. The mirror effect. Then came the breakthrough. The signal wasn't being sent directly. It was being reflected. Voyager's own transmissions were being captured, altered, and sent back into space. A cosmic echo. But not a passive one. A modified echo. Like something was studying the language before replying. Chapter 5. The patterns. When AI systems analyzed the signal, the results were chilling. Hidden inside the waveform were shapes. Not random shapes. Symmetrical patterns. Fractals. Spirals. They resembled ancient symbols found on Earth. Not copied, but eerily similar. As if two completely different intelligences had arrived at the same visual language. Chapter 6. The response problem. A team at Caltech ran the signal through a neural simulation. The AI didn't just decode it. It predicted it. Future pulses. Future patterns. That's impossible, unless the signal is recursive. A loop. A system designed to provoke interaction. Like a question waiting to be answered. Chapter 7. Voyager 1 joins the mystery. Then something even stranger happened. Voyager 1, billions of kilometers away, detected a similar disturbance. Two probes. Two locations. Same anomaly. This wasn't coincidence. It was coordination. Chapter 8. Total silence. Then, without warning, Voyager 2 went dark. At exactly 14:37 Coordinated Universal Time, every Deep Space Network receiver on Earth lost signal simultaneously. California. Spain. Australia. All at once. That doesn't happen. That cannot happen. Unless something turned it off. Chapter 9. The signal returns 5 minutes later. Earth received something. A narrowband radio burst. Extremely powerful. Precise. Originating from the same region. But this time, it wasn't Voyager. Chapter 10. ECHOLANTERN. Analysts gave the object a name, echolantern. Because it didn't just send signals, it reflected, adapted, and responded. Like light bouncing through a mirror maze. Except the maze was space. And the mirror was us. Chapter 11. The solar veil. Then physics itself began to fail. Solar wind, normally constant, collapsed along a narrow corridor in space. A perfect tunnel of silence. No particles. No radiation. Just nothing. As if space had been cleared. Or opened. Chapter 12. The Golden Record Incident. Voyager 2 came back online. But something was wrong. Its transmission had changed. The famous Golden Record, humanity's message to the stars, had been altered. Voices reversed. Music distorted. Coordinates shifted. It no longer said, "We are here," it said something else. Something closer to, "We are listening." Chapter 13. The impossible code. Engineers discovered something terrifying. Voyager's onboard software, unchanged for decades, had been rewritten. Chapter 15. The temporal echo. For 41 minutes, time itself seemed to glitch. Signals repeated. Data looped. Reality stuttered. Scientists called it the Chronos bloom. A distortion. Possibly caused by something manipulating spacetime itself. Chapter 16. It reaches Earth. Then it arrived. A signal from interstellar space entered Earth's atmosphere directly. Not bounced. Not scattered. Targeted. And it didn't just pass through. It stayed. Embedding itself into satellites, ocean sensors, global communication networks. Chapter 17. The digital infection. Cybersecurity teams found something impossible. A signal, moving through the internet. Not a virus. Not malware. Something quieter. Persistent. Repeating. Learning. The same signature as Voyager 2's anomaly. Chapter 18. The silence of the universe. Then came the moment that changed everything. For 18 minutes, the cosmic background radiation disappeared. The universe went silent. When it returned, it wasn't the same. It had shifted. Chapter 19. The shadow that was always there. Long before the anomaly, before the pulses, before the silence, there were hints. Buried in decades-old data archives. Unnoticed. Ignored. Forgotten. In the early 1980s, just a few years after Voyager 2 began its journey beyond the outer planets, faint irregularities appeared in tracking logs. Tiny deviations. Milliseconds of delay. Frequency shifts too small to matter. At the time, engineers blamed hardware limitations. But now, looking back, those anomalies form a pattern. A trail. Something wasn't just detecting Voyager. It had been following it for decades. Chapter 20. ECHODE0. A group of independent astronomers reanalyzed infrared sky surveys from the 1990s. And they found it. A cold object. Almost invisible. No heat signature. No reflection. No known classification. They named it Echoed 0. Because it didn't emit signals. It only responded. What made it terrifying wasn't its existence, it was its path. Echoed 0 wasn't drifting randomly. It followed a logarithmic spiral, a pattern seen in galaxies, storms, and the fundamental mathematics of nature. But this wasn't nature. This was precision. Intent. Design. Chapter 21. The Watcher behavior when scientists plotted its movement alongside Voyager 2. The conclusion was unavoidable: it wasn't chasing. It was shadowing. Maintaining distance. Maintaining alignment. Like a predator pacing its prey, or a scientist observing an experiment. Chapter 22. The James Webb Intervention. Without public announcement, James Webb Space Telescope was redirected. Its target: the empty space between Voyager 2 and Echo 0. What it found was not empty. Chapter 23. The field. Instead of a single object, there was a cluster. Dozens, maybe hundreds, of faint, reflective masses. They didn't orbit. They didn't collide. They moved together. Like a school of fish, responding to something unseen. Chapter 24. Impossible materials. Spectroscopic analysis revealed something that shouldn't exist. Exotic alloys. Elements with half-lives too short to survive. Materials that should have decayed millions of years ago, but hadn't. They were stable. Perfectly stable. That means one thing: they weren't natural. They were maintained. Chapter 25. The real target. Up until this point, scientists believed Voyager 2 was the focus. But the new data changed everything. Because the cluster wasn't centered on Voyager. It was aligned with Earth. Chapter 26. The bait theory. A new hypothesis emerged. Disturbing. Unsettling. But impossible to ignore. Voyager 2 wasn't the target. It was the trigger. A beacon. A signal flare thrown into the void decades ago, finally noticed. Chapter 27. Signals in our world. As observatories scanned the skies, something else was happening. Quietly. Here on Earth. Deep within global data networks, patterns began to appear. Chapter 28. The background signal. At first, it was dismissed as noise. Low-frequency packets. Unidentified. Harmless. But persistent.